Good morning. Alien portals, Bigfoot portals, parallel Earth portals, and psychic knowledge discussion. Did the creator or creators make the world completely shut off from other worlds? The portal that I went to seems to have its own thoughts and its own life as you walk near it. It seems to be conscious of you. I spent over 20 years hiking and biking and investigating this area, and in the past 20 years, maybe more than 20 actually, like 20, maybe 24 years, we've learned a lot, and digital cameras have improved to the point where you can zoom in, and some of my older photos from out there, you can't really zoom in that much, so it's taken for granted. I went to the parallel Earth portal in this previous video, but getting to the point, a few things I want to let you know. The area is heavily Bigfoot active area. I was not looking for them. I don't want to interact with them out here. And this is near Tampa. And I took a piss out there. And I heard some grunts. I didn't want to investigate anything like that when I was there. I was a little scary to do that. Maybe I'm being smart. I specifically, out of all the phenomena, I wanted to investigate a portal that's not Bigfoot specific. It leads to some parallel world that people can get lost in. And I've interpreted dreams for so many years about this hidden area that I finally put two and two together, that it leads to one of these parallel Earths that's interconnected with ours. Afterwards, I also heard the typical tree tapping right at the spot where I had to urinate. It's not a woodpecker sound. It has a kind of a musical tone to it. And I just paid it no mind. I didn't want to put them into my thoughts. I didn't want to interact with them. I had a scary experience with that. And some other people I know also had extremely scary experiences with that. But the place is rife with activity, and there's a lot of spots out here in Tampa Bay. I've found stuff like Bigfoot hair and things like that, and heard voices yelling. But I was acting purposely, like with the camera, like I'm just somebody kind of looking at trees and stuff. I was a little bit scary to go out there. So I'm not trying to see Bigfoots or film them. I think we've gotten to the point where we've seen enough verified, amateur people that have shown really good Bigfoot stuff. So, and aliens for me are pretty much the same, except for the ones that are like spiritual, and those are not really the ones that are here doing their business, and those kind will contact you and not you to them. It's not necessary to reach out to them. There are also many shadow people out there. I've heard them yell out, like I wasn't even alone. I was with a Bigfoot researcher, and the shadow man yelled at us. He said, "What are you doing over there?" And there was absolutely no way anyone would be there. It was like knee-high grass, off the trail, completely have to go through the woods, and it's Snake City over there, near the a spring. That's quite beautiful, and it was more beautiful in the Indian era, back in pre-civilization here, because they dredged it to make a canal system, but it used to be like a branch of the Hillsborough. And on the other side of the trail system, I showed you there's an alien base out there, and I went to it in 2006, but I don't even have an interest in going to that so much. I know it's there. I know it's super sketchy, I know that nobody goes to it because there's no litter over there, and it's not easy to get to. And even with the animal issue, you could be attacked by bobcats or coyotes, or probably not any bears, but it's possible. But who knows? There could be escaped monkeys or something out there too, not even skunk apes. Also, back in the early 2000s, on the other side of the trail, where there's a portal on the other side. It's a pine forest on the other side, and it's a very old part of the Florida. It goes back to when there were like mastodon or mammoths and stuff. That part of Florida wasn't underwater. Like the Pinellas side was underwater, so there's not as much of that activity. But on that side, this was before I was really believing in aliens and stuff like that. Like I knew I believed in it, but I didn't have the encounters yet. I was still in college, and the elf man was out there. And looking back, I know for sure he didn't look super elfy. His ears were pointed, but he was trying to look like kind of like a local redneck with a real plain like jeans and a flannel shirt. But he had these baby pigs walking in front of him. I stopped my bike and I'm looking at these mushrooms on the tree. They look really, really cool mushrooms. I was like, wow, it's kind of trippy looking. And then this guy walks by with a kind of smirk on his face. And I didn't think anything of it for years. The next day I went out there. He was on the other side of the trail system. And this guy stared me down. And he did that kind of turn like the Patty Bigfoot turn. Like, hey, man. And I was like, what the I kind of felt offended. Like, why are you staring me down? And then years later, I've done these readings on it, and it's like, there's no way, according to the readings with tarot and stuff, and, I'm not playing games with stuff. According to the readings, when you look at it, this is not somebody that is from here. I mean, he doesn't live in Tampa. He doesn't live in this plane. So those kind of people are out there too, but I thought it all over because I'm on a limited basis, and I have to ride my bicycle 60 miles to get out there. And so I was like, well, what's the most important phenomena out there? I thought, you know what, let's investigate the possibility that my dreams are telling me there really is a spot where you can walk, and it goes way far back, off of the Earth plane that we're on, because it's kind of like an interconnected realm. But the downside to it is my dreams are showing me spots, but in reality, that's the dream mind showing you things. But in reality, that's not what's really on the other side of it. I don't think you really can go too far into it without getting trapped in it. And it's not like, it's deadly. It's not like something that, I went in it and came back. Maybe some of the shamans could do it. Or maybe with more research, it's possible. But it's like going into outer space or something. I mean, I don't want to... If people have doubts, I mean, this is obviously doubtful. I mean, we're not trying to convince the skeptics, but do you want to be the guy that found out the hard way, and you go into it, and then you come back, and it's like, we're in 72 now, and you're like, I was only in there for, a couple of days, and I got lost or something. So I don't know about going any further, and, I had to chug a couple beers just to get my nerves up to going in there. So I was having dreams of the spot. I figured it out eventually that the dreams were telling me there's another region of access. So I realized that it was a parallel Earth, or maybe it's our Earth in a less dense plane attached to this plane. It's sort of like space. Maybe space is full of cryptids and entities. I used some psychic research and eliminated some of the spots. So I knew it was there. I didn't know where it was, and I did some psychic stuff and looking at the maps, and I know the system out there. I was really anxious about it. I had to be brave, and I used the cigar smoke for spiritual protection. My inner voice of the higher self told me exactly the location. So when I got out there, it was easy to find. And it really wasn't too far from the biking trail. So I really closed my mind off to thinking about cryptids. As you can see on these videos, there's like a dog man out there, and there was a Bigfoot, a mama Bigfoot, that was doing the snorting. There was a deer, but it wasn't the deer. And when I was out there, I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to see them. I didn't want to have they're not very welcoming. I think that they're a hybrid species in Florida. They're not the same species as up north. I don't know exactly, but from the footprint I saw, it did give me a kind of reptilian-esque feeling. I mean, it was kind of narrow, and it had big toenail prints. It was in the mud, and there was 2 of them. That did it for me. But maybe they're never going to come out openly so much. So that's a gamble in itself. And then when I got to the portal, the parallel Earth portal spot out there, there began to be wind and cloud covering, and that was a very clear day. That was like a 0% rain, and it's been that way for the past month. Kind of nice. I'm glad I went out when it was kind of chilly out. It got hot again. So it was a side effect of the portal. I knew it because it was like, wow, it looked like it was going to rain and stuff. It got really kind of almost violent in the cloud system. So I had to get another beer. I know I guess it's not, you're not supposed to do that, but I didn't litter it. I carried it out. I had goosebumps. For the funny thing about this spot, you can go through this whole area. I did litter pickup out there. You can find beers, and people throw trash wherever people walk. Like there is a redneck cut through where people walk, where kids go and leave their bottles and stuff. But this place was absolutely clean, and it really isn't that far from the trail. And I even saw maybe a handful of people walking the trail. So the more you get to this spot, it's like you don't see it when you're there, and it's like distant, and there's a kind of timeless energy back there. Like, not just in the portal, in that whole trail system, you can get to these spots where like the little grass, they're all waving in unison. You feel like this ancient presence, and it is an ancient area. I went out back to the main trail. I talked to this girl that was out there. She said, "Oh, I'll walk out there," but she was just talking because girls do that. But then I got more guts to go in. I said, "Hey, if she'll do it, I'll do it," even though she probably wouldn't have. But she said, "Oh, there's no portal there." I doubt that. That's what she said. But she said there's portals everywhere, but just kind of a younger chick. And then, as you can see in the footage, the wind started blowing back there. The palmettos, those plants were waving in unison. It seemed eerie, like it's windy back in there, but not anywhere else. Like it has an intelligence that I'm there, and it's like going to start doing weird stuff. What if it's not there? What if it's doubtful, and you get a compass and you could walk all the way through to the other side where it comes out? I think there's a really dense spot where you really can't hike through, and it has water, but it's a nasty area to hike. I mean, there's massive gators back there too. I've seen them even off the trail, and there's hogs, but they're not super aggressive over there. I noticed the geological surveyor people have gone off trail, but I didn't see any evidence that they were back in that spot. And then after visiting that spot, my dreams were like insane. I mean, it was crazy at night. It seems like I've been affected by it, like I'm seeing realms of the other side and visionary dreams that are like completely inexplicable events and places. Obviously, if this is a real portal, just by circumstance, there's going to be cryptids, gnomes, ghosts, entities, powers, spirits, and so on. Skinwalkers or crawlers or whatever. It's all possible, and I think there are. But I'm not seeking those things out specifically. I think the idea of being able to visit a parallel Earth and come back is fascinating. We know missing 411, a small fraction of those is the exact same phenomena. Those are all types of phenomena, earthly and alien. Multiple worlds, there has to be multiple worlds, multiple planets, different densities, physical natures are different. People have disappeared, and the families they leave behind assume they're dead, but they could be still alive, being stuck in a portal, and you're there one day and it's like 20 years on our side. I'm pretty sure this spot I showed you, you could get lost in there. Really, personally, I think I went as far as I really need to. If things develop, maybe I'll get the guts to want to go back and have a compass. Maybe the compass wouldn't work. It's so twisty, like there's no straight line, and it looks like a trail back there. It's really weird how the further you go, it looks like a trail, but it's not a human trail, and it's not necessarily a game trail. It's there's some deer, but it's not. This isn't like a deep wilderness. It's close enough to the city, in a sense, but it definitely has a very peaceful place. That's why I used to go there a lot, because I just enjoyed it, and I got inspired in music through, nature. So I did not feel good about going too much further than I did on the video. The odd thing about it was that it looked as though it had a trail pattern. It did not go in a straight line, east or west. It was very meandering. So in order to go way into it and find your way out, the few hundred feet I went in, when I turned around to find where I left the bike, I was entirely disoriented. Just absolutely bizarre. I don't know if a compass would be of much use, or how else you can do that, maybe with markers or something, but probably if you left markers, they probably would get moved, even in a few minutes, I bet. So the dreams I had showing me this parallel Earth, it had all these exciting spots, but I think it's just like a symbol of the spots. It's not like factual. Like if you go back, you're gonna find the tree house and the extra trail systems and all these cool areas. I think it's like my mind interpreting that energy into something, tangible. And this is like recurring dreams for like years and years, and I didn't understand why. And I know there's trails I have never seen out there. There's a lot of trails out there. There's equestrian trails. There's a lot of spots. But I've seen a good amount of it to know that it's nothing like those dreams out there. And I've also had a dream that was so vivid I thought it was real, of a house. And I think maybe those elf people do have a house out there. We can't see it. On theirs, they can see us. So it's like that. You can't really... I think they're dangerous. I don't think you should try to interact with them at all. I think they can grab you, cut you up or something. But it's better safe than sorry. But that's research. It takes bravery. So there was a time when I sought these phenomena out, because really when you're seeking them out, it's because you don't believe in it. Like going to MUFON meetings and talking to abductees, and then the next day seeing a craft like really up front and just mind-blowing. Like, it's hard to even believe what I saw, but at least I have people with me sometimes, and we're not, drunk or anything like that. The psychic effect of it, the problem, what they call gnosis, like knowledge, initiation, development of yourself. Not everyone comes back from these experiences. So I think more like spiritual development and thought is more beneficial than seeking out any phenomena, because there is a level of deception in phenomena, that it's an illusion of sorts, that the physical world, as they teach in the East, is an illusion because it's in constant flux. There's nothing stable about it. So spirits can hide, and it could lead to temptation into further things and frustration. And some people, like I said, they don't come back from seeking it out. And in ages long ago, I had a dream about it. It's like, we're talking a million years ago, they had witchcraft. There wasn't our race of people, but there's people here that did witchcraft with the Bigfoots, and maybe they worshipped them, or maybe they interacted with them, or they used them for magic. And the amount of spine-chilling energy and fear someone could experience, you're going to go contact spirits and beings in the middle of a portal at night. Like, you want to go back in there at night and try to contact spirits and stuff. You think, oh, nothing, they don't exist, I'll just go and do that. And it's like, you have to have some fear of this, because the people that say, oh, it doesn't exist, or you go, oh, I want to do some real cool witchcraft back there, and, nothing will happen, or I want to see if aliens will show up. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it right now. There's no devil out there. So it's suicidal to be fearless. Maybe these beings are not bound to an identity, that they can show you themselves in different forms. The witches would offer them blood. Maybe not all the witches were into the evil side of it, but there is a side of it that's evil, even if they're trying to be good, because they're working with things that's not from the humans. So, not from the masters of our human life, like Christ and Buddha and the teachers of this, Saint Germain and stuff. The cryptids could take on a human appearance, and then with the witches could help them to stay in our physical world through some kind of rituals. And I think they relied on that, maybe, but who knows about that. I did have a dream about that. The only other reason I could see that people would hunt these things out would be like for popularity on YouTube, getting ad revenue, book sales, their own egotistical fame and fortune, pride, a sense of, power, self-power, empowerment. They're willing to mix in lies with it because it makes good videos, and that's what's happened. So time will tell. They'll have problems occur in their lives because of the lies that they put into it. There's a vicious cycle to seek out illusions. So the illusions will manifest like the shapeshifters they are. And the magicians of society will abuse the public with sensationalism. So with all that said, you don't think it's possible, but alien abduction is easily possible. I think they're really highly involved in promoting paranormal research. So being alien abducted, you wouldn't necessarily be on a UFO. You might be, because I've had a lot of dreams of that, but they also can just take you and instantly kill you and use your body for they get the serum off your body because it has etherical energy that they harvest, because they don't have souls, or they don't have spiritual energy of their own. They can't, because it's a universal law that you're dealing with something like with the cattle mutilations. These aliens don't care. They'll throw the dead cow on the ground there just so you can see it. They don't care if you see it or not. What do they care? They don't answer to you. They don't answer to anybody, except higher, maybe to God and the angels and stuff that are on the good side. But these things are an illusion. The UFOs they're not physical like we are. They're not airplanes. They try to look like airplanes a lot. If they were, then we would have a book that would show, oh, these are all the different type of UFOs. They have to have a certain amount of them. But excuse me, every single UFO is different looking. So they're not manufacturing them. I do think they come from other planets, but our conception of planets is kind of materialistic, like mechanical science. It doesn't explain it. You have to look at the universe in a cosmological view, that there's different levels of experience, levels of existence, and higher and lower densities with their own laws that correspond to their universal evolution, and that our planet is connected to other Earths in a long chain of evolutionary development.